Iggy, how about a nice, juicy loquat? Iggy! Oh, Iggy!
Yeah?
Is this Milo Research and Technology?
This is Chaz, Milo. Service forwarded your call to my cell. What do you want?
Are you all right?
I'm at the gym. On the treadmill. It's called multitasking.
Well, about the letter you sent to Dr. Belay, you know, where you told him the skull was a fake, I was just wondering...
I never told him that.
Never told him what?
I told him that skull was authentic.
No, you said in the letter the skull was carved using modern instruments.
I said all the tests I ran proved the skull had been hand-carved and hand-polished. Probably took decades to make.
But the letter Dr. Belay got said just the opposite.
Then the letter he got must not have been the letter that I wrote.
Are you saying the crystal skull is real?
Hey, I'm not saying it's magic or anything. I'm just saying it wasn't made using 19th century, 20th century, or 21st century technology.
Did you carbon date it to see how old it was?
The thing was pure quartz. No carbon in quartz. No carbon, no carbon dating. Hey, look, I'm gonna hang up now. If I try to talk anymore, I'm gonna pass out.
Just one more question. Did you send that letter saying the skull was authentic to anyone else?
No, just Dr. Belay. I heard he died recently. Good thing I billed him up front.
Yeah, well, thanks for your help.
No problem.
Yes, hello? Who is this?
Hello, Professor. This is Nancy Drew again.
Nancy Drew. Are you sure you're not the cheese girl?
Positive. Could I ask you something?
Of course. Let her rip.
Do you know of any relationship between the Whisperer and a crew in New Orleans called the Jolly Rogers?
A crew named after the skull and crossbones
The man who called you about the Whisperer, Bruno Bollet, he was a member of the Jolly Rogers. I just thought maybe one had something to do with the other.
Had the Whisperer fallen into the hands of pirates, I promise you my research would have turned up that fact. But it didn't. Therefore, no relationship. Coincidence strikes again.
Thanks for your help.
Rock and roll!
Hey, Nancy. How's it going?
Pretty good.
Meaning...
Henry confessed that he sold off some of Bruno's things because he needed money to keep his girlfriend Summer happy.
She's high maintenance, huh?
Extremely. You're so lucky.
Hey, don't I know it. Think he sold off the Crystal Skull?
I don't think so, no. He acts like he's never heard of the Crystal Skull.
And so the search goes on.
I've been having Bess do some sleuthing for me.
You're kidding. I thought you said Bess was a disaster when it came to detective stuff.
I never said that. I mean, I may have said she wasn't particularly adept at snooping.
Ah, but this is not snooping. It's sleuthing.
Exactly.
So how's she doing?
You know Bess, when she puts her mind to something, there's no stopping her. She's doing awesome.
Awesome?
Okay, maybe not awesome, but she's certainly, you know.
Not totally screwing up?
Right.
That's what I figured.
Bruno Bollet's doctor, Gilbert Buford, was apparently Bruno's best friend as well.
Think Bruno told him about the skull?
Yes, in fact, Dr. Buford told Bess that Bruno showed it to him once. But apparently he told Bruno the skull was bogus, and Bruno got a little ticked off. Never showed it to him again.
Well, when it comes to murdering someone and making it look like a heart attack, a doctor's got to be right up there when it comes to suspects.
Don't worry, I've been thinking the same thing.
So what else is going on?
In order to find that crystal skull, it looks like I'm going to have to find all of Bruno's glass eyes.
Bruno wore a glass eye?
He wore a lot of glass eyes. Not all at once, of course, but from this box I found in his study, it looks like he had at least 25.
What makes you think finding them will lead you to the skull?
Something Bruno said to Professor Hotchkiss, whom I've met before, by the way, in Wisconsin. Did I ever tell you about her?
Why does that name bring Boots to mind? Boots and cheese.
Anyway, it turns out she's an expert on the crystal skulls. So Bruno called her once, and when she asked him if he knew where the skull called the Whisperer was, he said, "The eyes have it."
He meant eyes with an E instead of an A.
Right.
Did he lose all these eyes or hide them on purpose?
I'm pretty sure he hid them on purpose.
And I thought Henry was weird.
Get this, Bruno had a pet iguana that he liked to dress up in little costumes.
Say what?
I kid you not. I found little outfits for Iggy, that's the iguana's name, Iggy, in Bruno's study. He could dress him up like a mailman, an optometrist, or a pirate.
Now I've heard everything.
No, you haven't. Iggy also hides things in the vents, and depending on what outfit he's wearing, he'll go into the vent and bring out different stuff.
You have got to be joking.
Like, I dressed him up as an optometrist, and he brought me out a glass eye.
Poor Henry. If weirdness is genetic, he doesn't stand a chance.
I'm pretty sure a letter caused Bruno Bollet to have that heart attack.
A letter?
Apparently, Bruno and Renee had recently taken the crystal skull to a lab to see if it was authentic. The lab guy mailed Bruno a letter summarizing his test results, which showed the skull was a fake, and when Bruno read it, I think the shock was just too much for him.
So much for his being murdered.
Actually, that's not quite true. When I called the lab guy, he said that in his letter he told Bruno the skull was authentic.
You mean someone faked the letter that said the skull was a fake?
Yep, which means Bruno more or less did die at someone else's hand.
Good grief. Have you told anyone?
No, and I don't think I'm going to. For one thing, I don't want to tip my hand. For another thing, I don't want anyone thinking that skull is the real deal after all.
Which apparently it is.
The only thing those lab tests proved is that the skull is at least 300 years old. Not that it has magical powers or anything.
But still, finding it would be pretty cool.
While I was picking mushrooms for Renee, I almost lost my hand to one of Bruno's pets.
You have a big dog or something?
A big alligator named Bernie.
How can you make a pet out of an alligator?
Apparently by exploiting their fondness for marshmallows.
Well, stay away from him. I like your hands just the way they are.
I can't quite figure out whether Renee neglected to tell me about him by accident or on purpose.
Hey, if you're not sure, you'd better stay away from her, too.
Nothing more to report.
Call again, okay? Soon.
Okay, bye.
See ya.
Yes?
I'll let you get back to work.
Whatever.
Hello again.
I think I found the letter that Dr. Bolet was reading when he had his fatal heart attack. Iggy the iguana had taken it. Apparently, Dr. Bolet did have a crystal skull and believed possessing it would make him immortal. So he had it tested, and the lab sent him its findings in this letter. Read the second paragraph.
My analysis showed that the skull, while made of remarkably pure crystal, was carved using modern instruments. In layman's terms, the skull is a fake.
My guess is Dr. Bolet believed in the skull so completely that when he read it was a fake, he was totally devastated, and his heart just stopped. But what I don't quite understand is, why did you tell me you didn't know about the crystal skull when this letter indicates you did?
All right. Dr. Bolet told me about the skull. As you said, he believed with all his might owning that skull was the reason he was still going strong at 95. I lied to you because, well, for one thing, Dr. Bolet swore me to secrecy. And for another, he kept the skull hidden. And up until just this minute, I wanted to be the one who found it.
Do you have any idea where the skull's hidden?
None whatsoever. Oh my, this makes me feel just terrible. You see, getting the skull tested was my idea. When Dr. Bolet told me about it, I was skeptical and that troubled him. So I helped him find a private laboratory where we could take it so any and all doubts would be dispelled once and for all. I certainly did not anticipate that the truth would result in his keeling over and dying like that. Well, now that I too know that the skull's a fake, I can stop fretting over its whereabouts. In fact, I should probably thank you and Iggy for setting me straight.
I'll see you later.
Thanks for coming by.